That's a big reason why like I left school, honestly, because it's like 90% of those kids are like drinking, like smoking every single fucking night. Like they don't give a shit about school. They don't, I mean, which like it's fine, but like they don't give a shit about anything. You know, companies and people in the outside world like look at university as like this pedigree and like this super esteemed kind of institution. And like from the inside, like I can tell you, like I find it like it's a joke, but controversial take, I know. Look at the most successful accounts. Like I look at like, the Subway guy. It's like pretty much the same freaking video day in,
Yeah,
day
over
out.
and over.
Right. Or you look at like the Cold Stone, like ice cream guy, Dylan LeMay, right? Again, same video over and over and over again. So I had this idea of instead of like bringing multiple creators onto Key's account, what I was going to do was, scale horizontally across multiple accounts, bringing on multiple independent creators, matching it one creator per one account. Even at one point, like 100 plus creators and 100 plus accounts. And
That's
you see
crazy.
that strategy with like Andrew Tate, who's also
Right.
now he ran that up and did a better job than I did. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
beyond that's really smart. And are you guys still doing that till this day then? I mean, I'm sure you
Yeah.
are if it worked, right?
Yeah, yeah, still doing that to this day. Probably like one of our strongest channels. Unfortunately, like a lot of the creators that we started off with, we've had to cut and kind of readjust as time's gone by. And it's kind of just like a constant like hamster wheel where we just always are bringing in new creators, testing new creators, cutting low performers, doubling down on high performers. But like that's like kind of one of our main systems
Mm,
that produces the overwhelming revenue for us month after month.
that's amazing. Now, I want to ask you something because I mean, obviously, this sounds like a ton of work, bro. A lot of logistical efforts, organizational efforts, like you were saying, bandwidth. How were you able to manage this while going to school? Because at the time you were in school, right?
Right. Well, so when we first launched, I ended up dropping down from full time student status. I was a sophomore studying business at Ross at the University of Michigan, um, and I ended up going down to part time, where I was literally taking like two classes, um, and it was a joke, man. Ross has this thing called the Ross curve. I'm about to expose the fuck out of him. But basically, like the worst you can get in the class, like I'm talking like even if you just absolutely bomb, the worst you can
Hmm.
get in the class is a B, right? So like I went to class, like put my headphones in, was on my laptop the entire time, like crammed for like 2 days before finals, got like some really like shitty, scores back on the finals, whatever. But ended with a B or B plus even in those
That's
two classes.
crazy. Is that
Yeah,
just to retain students, or like why do they do that?
ask Ross. I don't know, man.
That's wild.
It's wild. But that's I don't want to get too deep into like the school rabbit hole, but like that's a big reason why like I left school, honestly, because it's like 90% of those kids are like drinking, like smoking every single fucking night. Like they don't give a shit about school. They don't, I mean, which like it's fine, but like they don't give a shit about anything. It's kind of just
Yeah.
like it's like companies and people in the outside world like look at university as like this pedigree and like this super esteemed kind of institution, and like from the inside, like I can tell you, like you know, I find it like it's a joke, but controversial take, I know.
I don't think so, honestly, these days, bro. I think a lot of people are starting to get onto, just how inefficient it is, how wasteful it is in terms of time, like it's money, like everything. It's tricky.
Right.
But I'm just curious. Oh, so you only had two, classes. That's not a lot to manage.
Right.
If anything, maybe it helped you like stay focused, probably like to be at school
Oh,
or no.
dude, it was crazy. So like one of the classes was like an accounting class, and like it was like the most boring stuff ever. And so as a result, like just being in that class like made the other boring work that like I would always push to the side like so
Hmm.
far. Like I'd rather like be like digging in like a spreadsheet with like some bullshit that like I would never want to do than like listen to the professor. So I don't know. Arguably, it may have increased my
That's funny,
productivity.
man. The
Yeah.
contrast just made it so much better. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So, what do
Exactly.
you think? Now you're obviously still kind of diverting your focus a bit through all the things that you're doing, but you're managing it well. I'm curious, what does your daily routine look like these days?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm definitely like splitting my time through like the different ventures, but I will say like first off, tabs is like my number one priority. It's what I spend the most amount of time on. And secondly, like it uses the same part of the brain. There's so much like synergy like across the brand, the agency, And then, you know, the SaaS project is on the back burner. Like I have a designer that I onboarded like a couple weeks ago, and he's doing like a lot of the grunt work, and then I'm checking in with him like a couple times a week. So there's really not that much going on there. So, I mean, that's kind of like the gist of, you know, all the different projects. So it sounds like I'm doing a lot, but in reality, like it's pretty much the same thing, just, you know, different vehicles.